employee edit form is really coming along. Whenever a user clicks on the Save Changes button, we're going to run on button press, and we have now verified that when we console log name, phone, and shift, we get the updated values out of that form reducer. So all we have to do now is replace this console log with an action creator that will actually save our new data off to Firebase. So let's do that now. We'll start off by writing the action creator. We'll import it into this file. We'll call it from on button press, and then we'll test it all out inside the simulator. So step one is going to be to open up my employee actions file. Now we've covered previously on how to create new records in Firebase. Believe it or not, saving, or I should say updating records is really just as simple. So we're going to form up a ref to the database, and then instead of calling this push method right here, which usually creates a new record, we will use what's called the set property. And what set does is it updates information. So set is for updating. So let's see how that works in practice. At the bottom of my file, I'm going to create a new action creator. And I'm going to call this employee save. I'm going to expect employee save to be called with a name, a phone, a shift, and an ID. So that last property there, ID, this is the real key right here. Remember that in the case of saving or really updating an employee, we are updating an existing record. So we have to be very explicit and tell Firebase that we are attempting to, hey, this record over here, the one with this ID, this is the one that we are trying to update. So whenever we call this action creator, we need to make sure that we specify the employee that we are trying to save, or I should say update. If I flip over to my Firebase console, just to be 100% clear, you'll see that I have on users, the first ID that's in here is my user ID. That user has an employees collection, and this is that UID, the UID of that very particular employee right here. So that's where that is coming from. All right, so as far as creating the ref to the database, it's going to look very similar to the others. We're first going to need to get access to the current user, like so. I am pretty darn sure that this is going to be an asynchronous action creator again. So again, I'm going to return a function because I know that I'm not going to have anything to return right away from this action creator, right? I don't have anything just yet. Then inside of here, we'll form up our ref to our database. So firebase.database.ref. We're going to place our backticks. So we'll do /users. We'll designate the current user's UID. Employees, and now here's the interesting part. We need to specify the exact record that we are trying to update. So usually before we were just saying like, hey, yeah, go find that employees bucket, and actually up here is a better example. Go find that employees bucket and push in a new record in there, right? Just throw a new record on top. This time around, we are trying to update a very specific record. So in the ref, we are pointing to a very specific record. I am pointing to the one with this very particular ID. And once it's found, I want to set some new number of properties on it. So we're going to set on there the name, the phone, and the shift. Finally, for right now, I want to just do a console log of saved. So after everything is done, I'll do a console log of saved, and we'll call it good. Chances are, in reality, we're going to want to navigate back to the employee list screen. I think that would be a good idea. But for right now, we'll just kick the user. We'll just do a console log. All right, I think we're ready to do almost forgot. One last thing, we need to make sure that we actually call this action creator from somewhere. So I'm going to import it over into employee edit. So I'm going to flip over to employee edit. At the top, I've already got an import statement for my employee update action creator. I'll pull in employee save as well. And then I'll hook it up to my component down inside the connect helper. I'll do a new line just to make things look nice. Here's employee save. And then finally, inside of the button handler that is, I can call this .props.employee save. And of course, I need to pass in the modified name, phone, shift. And don't forget, here's the really important one, the ID of the record that we are trying to update. So as UID, we'll pass in this .props.employee.uid. So this last little bit here, yeah, that's the nasty part. Where did this employee come from? Remember, whenever we come to employee edit, the only way you can navigate to this thing is by clicking or pressing on an employee. And when you do that, we have our event handler inside of our list item. And the list item transitions us over to employee edit, passing in that employee as a prop. So that is where this.props.employee UID is coming from. It is because whenever we come to this view, we are specifying the very particular employee that we are trying to work on. All right, I think we're ready for a test here. So I'm going to save this. I'll do a refresh. I will log in. And here's, I deleted all of my other employees. I want to have just one in here so that I can see the actual record that is going to get updated. So here's Jane, all by her lonesome. So I'll tap into Jane. All of Jane's attributes are pre-filled in the form. So Jane 555 Monday, exactly what I expect. Let's update her phone number. So let's say she's got a new phone number. And I expect her, let's be really mean. We're going to make Jane work on Saturday. Too bad for Jane. So now I'm going to click on Save Changes. I'm going to expect that this is going to make a request off to Firebase, update this record, and I should see a console log that just says something like, hey, saved your record, looks good. So I click Save Changes. We get the yellow flash over here, which means some data has been updated. You'll see that now I've got the phone number of 44444, and my shift is now on Saturday. Perfect. The last thing I want to do is verify that we got the console log. Yep, here it is. It says saved. Exactly what I expected. So this is perfect. We're working really well right now. I think the last thing that we need to do is make sure that we navigate the user back over to the employee list. Normally I would say let's do that in the next section, but in this case, well, you know what, let's just handle it. This has been a long section. Let's take care of it in the next section. So I'll see you in a second. We're going to navigate our users back over to the employee list after they successfully save the changes.